Hi, my friend. It's Pat Sloan here. We are on block number 4 of summer camp. So I hope you are enjoying summer camp as much as I am. I am having so much fun. About the middle of this video, I'm showing you something extraordinary that I found out about one of the summer camps that I went to. So you got to watch the whole thing. So what do we have? What do we have? Summer camp block 4 is all about food. Yes, food, glorious food, camp food. Okay, so here's the block. Here's my block. Ta-da! So this could go so many different ways with the colors. I'm going to show you that, plus talk about sashing colors so that you can start working on what you want to do for yours. And if you want to start sewing it now, then you'll have your quilt pretty much done when it comes to the end. So food, glorious food. Now I do tell you a story in here, in the pattern, but I wanted to also just tell you a secondary story, which was not about camp food. Apparently, my camping experience, I have like very specific memories, but a lot of things, there's just lots of gaps that, I just don't have any memories. I just have to maybe reload some old tapes in there, see if I can call some more of them up. But camp food, not for my camping, but as an adult. When Greg and I were first dating, we went to do a picnic, and he's like, okay, I'm going to bring baked potatoes and some butter and some hamburgers or whatever we were going to do on the camp grill. Or the grill, but it was out camping. We weren't near anything, so we had to take all this with us. So we got there, we got everything out, and I was opening up containers, butter container, and I'm looking at it, and I open it, and it's Jell-O. There's Jell-O in the butter container. So I was like looking around, seeing, well, maybe he brought that for dessert. I don't eat Jell-O, but we're just dating, so I don't know. And turns out his mom, reused the butter containers for Jell-O and other things, and he just grabbed a container out of the fridge. So we had nothing to put on our baked potatoes, but we laugh a lot about that. We still remember it. It's so much fun. And he also asked me if we were going to do like initiation foods, because apparently the Boy Scouts, like I don't think my Girl Scouts ever did this, but the Boy Scouts had initiation foods, like they had to put blindfold on and eat worms, which were cold pasta and stuff like that. So for him, that's a huge, strong memory for camp. Okay, let's take a look at some ways and fabric combinations. It's so much fun. Let's go. I started out this block on your camp food with one particular fabric that I wanted to use, and then tried to, see what color combination would work. So let's take a look. So first of all, here are the 3 blocks. And what I noticed right away was that there is blue in all of them. Even though on this one, the blue is in the floral, there's blue, and of course that's actually the same blue fabric. And I like that there's quite a bit of pops of blue. So I want to sort of play off that for the rest of the blocks. And I may not add in another color. There's sort of, just adding in one more color might make it a bit mushy or not. It's just, you never know. So anyways, here is what we're dealing with. So what I decided is for the camp food block is to use this fabric. So it's sort of like a patchwork block, like a string piece block. That's what that looks like to me. So there are several different colors of this. And so I thought the best place would be in the middle. So that will be the middle part of the block. So let's take a look at the block over here. Okay, so if this is in the middle, I also decided I would use my background fabric. Oh, let me just give a little thought on this, because I had a couple of questions. Several of you asked me, why don't I actually write the word background, where instead I write the word light in the pattern? That's because I want you to make your own choice. I give you plenty of background fabric on the supply list. It's generous. So you're not going to probably use all of that unless you use a lot of it in a lot of different places. But the whole thing about Block Wednesday is for you to use your own creativity. It's not a formula. I don't make this block in advance. I'm making this block as I tape. So I don't know in advance what colors I'm going to put anywhere. I sort of play off of how it develops, and for me, that's the fun of it. And I hope that you have fun with that as well. So you will find that you'll have a background light that you can use where you want. You could totally switch it up. So that's the deal on background. Okay, in this case, that's the fabric I'm going to use, which I have used in 2 of the other blocks. There's on here and on here. Okay, so that will be the light part of this block. So I have the center, and now I've got this unit out here, which I am looking at using a bigger print. I'm really loving how that big print is looking here. I've got another bigger print here, how I used it here. I am loving that. So you're going to see it a lot in the blocks, because in this particular fabric line called Frankie, they did this pattern in many of the colors. So I have a lot of options. So if it did that on the outside out here, then the little points of the inside star could be this sort of raspberry, which brings, or it's not, so it's a salmon color. So it brings from the flowers on here into the flowers here. So I think that that's a really great option. Now, taking this, now another thing I could do is I could do this floral. That would be a smaller, tighter pattern, which might actually play well so that it doesn't distract from that center. Sort of makes the center shine. The center could also have green points. Let me see if I've got, yeah, like so. The center could also be green. That would be fabulous. That would be super fabulous too. Okay, so that's one option. Then I thought I would look at the pink. Now I've not really used the pink a lot. And this here could go pink or red, because it's got a lot of pink, a lot of red. So if I did a pink on the outside, this is the center, this is the outside, then I could do pink points. So there, that would be one combo. Or I could do red points like this. Or I could switch that outer and make it more red and not use, and the pink is just a little bit, just like it's a little bit here in the floral, which this is also a fabulous color combination. Now I did do this red, which will be 1, 2, 3. It'll be the 3rd block. This will be the 1st block, so they will be apart from each other visually. So I won't have a red block stacked on top of another red block. So I want to avoid that. I can always shuffle the blocks when I'm done, but that's I do think about that as I'm building it, in case I don't really want to shuffle them, in case I want to start sewing them as I go with the sashing. Okay, so the last one I've thought about, these are all so good. I mean, I could make any of these and it would work. Oops, I need the light. Okay, so here's my light, and the other one would be blue, with the blue, that blue here on the outside, and then the star point. So the center again, and the star point. Now the thing is, this will be sitting under this block. So this new block will be sitting under this, whoops, under, here it is, sorry, under this block. So I don't know that I want blue. So I'm going to eliminate blue for this round. That means, you know, I'm really, really liking this with the green point. I thought I would like the red point on it, but the green point, and then now it's, remember, it's going to be under this block, so I don't want to use the same pattern here. So if I did this one, I would go ahead and use the bigger yellow floral, but yeah, I could also instead just do the red and pull the red across. Oh, so many decisions. Okay, well, you know already what I picked. So let me go ahead and sew it up, because what we're going to do next is talk about the sashing and getting sashing ready to go. Before we talk about the sashing, I need to show you what else I found in this box with all of my Voltsmarch metals. So let's take a look. I pulled it out as I was opening this before the last week, and I found all the Voltsmarch metals. I emptied all the metals out to see them all, and at the very bottom, this is what I found. I'll just put it on the top now. I found an entire pack of patches from my camps. Oh my goodness, not only just from camps, but what I'm going to do is show you up close what I know about them. And it's not much. My memories are not that great from, you know, they're not strong memories, so I'm not calling up a lot of stuff. So this was actually done before I went to Germany, 1967, a brownie powwow. So I have no idea what that was. This is gold. absolutely gold. This is Camp Lochenwald. And I went online and I found that Camp Lochenwald is actually in Germany. And this is the camp that I thought I went to in Switzerland. It's not in Switzerland, it's in Germany. I always thought it would take a very long time to go to Switzerland for a little kid, you know, but there it is. And online there's a Facebook group, and I went in there and talked to the people a little bit. I'm just going to show you something else in a second. This is my brother's patch because I wasn't a Boy Scout in Wiesbaden. And then here's another day camp. So here's the day camp, 1971. That was where we went and stayed overnight just one night. And then these were from my ski school when we went skiing as a family at ski school. And this is the American flag that I put on my ski uniform. It was kind of a thing to do at the time. Yes, very, very cool. When I went online and found the Facebook group for Camp Lochenwald, they had a lot of people who had been not only there during many, many different years, because it has, and I think it might actually still be there as a Girl Scout camp in Germany. The Boy Scout camp was called Camp Freedom, and that's not there anymore. But they shared that they were counselors and different things. So it was really fun. And I found, I borrowed these two pictures of the tents. So these were the tents. It was a pretty rugged little place. It was not fancy and they said everything was 2 weeks. I do not remember being there 2 weeks. That seems like an awful long time for me to have gone at that point. So I'm going to see what my mom can remember. She doesn't remember much either. But it was only about an hour and a half by bus from where we lived. So I don't know when I went to Switzerland. I went with my family once, but how I got that in my head, I have no idea. Okay, so let's take a look at sashings. So let me just tell you that even if you've designed the block, written the pattern, it is always good to double check what you're doing, because if you happen to take a break in the middle of making your pattern, you might just do something wrong, like I did with these. These, I put the green part on the wrong end. So if I had used them, this is the design I would get. And I highly recommend, if you do this, go ahead, if you like it, and just use it. Because I'm doing the pattern, it would just confuse people if I did that, but there it is if it were used the other way. If you sewed the green part on the wrong side. So there you go. I have some extras for the parts bin. This is how you get extras for the parts bin. So let's take a look at the sashing, because you might want to go ahead and start playing around with cutting, play around with the fabric colors, what colors you want if you haven't decided yet, and then go ahead and start cutting it and sewing sashing on as we go. Because if you sew sashing on as we go, then by the time you're done, all you're doing is just a little bit of extra work, and you can actually have the quilt sort of finished by the last block. There's not much left. Now I did have two different sizes, because one you would use more of the darker placement, and this would be the middle placement. But if you happen to have bought a yard, like if you were ordering online and you went ahead and got a yard, well then you could probably play with it either way. Because I have some generous background, you could probably use that. So you can have options here. Okay, let's look at what I intend to do and what I could do. So my sashings are like this. Here would be the blocks, and I have this coral and the pink floral, and then the cornerstones, which get made into what they're called snowballs. You have sew and flip corners, and then I will use the coral in the middle here again. And so this is how I originally had designed it. But what if I flipped it? What if I went and did the pink? This would give it a little bit lighter look, and then did the coral in the middle. And then you could still use this, and then maybe in the middle instead you would put like a blue square, something like that, or a different color. You wouldn't have to put pink in there, although you could put the pink. So what if you wanted to do something else? What if you really wanted it light? And I think the one person who's doing their blocks that I showed you the other day is doing this. They're using the background for where the dark is, and in the center of that then You could keep it super light like this. That'd be really pretty. Let me just pull it out a little bit more so you get a little bit more width on that white. Okay, so something like this, and then you could have these as cornerstones, or any fabric really. If you wanted to get a little bit more pop, there you go. Do something like that. Put the coral. So you have some maneuverability here. You know, I am going to go ahead and do as I planned, although I really like the lights. They look really good too. So that is something. Instead, what I'm going to do is where this inner border is here, that is where I'm going to use background. When I get to that, this will be background, and then, so mine will be, let me just mock up mine for you. So I will have, for sashing, the coral, and it'll be the pink in the middle, Then I will have this, background, again, for the whole, around the inner border, and then my border fabric. So this is the combo that I will have. And then here are my cornerstones, which will have the coral in the middle. So there you can see a different block against that sashing. So the coral is what's going to be against the sashing, and then I will have a separator here for a little cream border all the way around on the outside. Here's one of the other blocks. See? So one of the things I'm not going to do is use this coral in much of the blocks, because it'll be a pretty strong piece for the sashing, plus, and then it pulls everything together because there's coral in so many of the fabrics. Okay, so there we go. So that is it. You are ready to make your block. Before you go, two things. One is I picked the backing for Words to Live By. It is all ready to go to the spa, and I picked my pink. I think that is just the most wonderful backing for it. I do now need to pick a new binding. The kit came with black, with the black like this, and I think the black is just not the right thing. So I have to order, because I don't really have enough. I actually have probably enough of this in two different colorways, because there were two colorways. One has some blue in it and one does not. Without the blue is what you see a lot of. And I might have enough to squeeze that out, adding a few pieces of this with the blue, or I could order this, which is so pretty. It's used in one of the blocks. It wasn't used very much, but it's got the orange and the pinks. So if you have an opinion on those, let me know. And be sure you've gone and downloaded your calendar. So our July calendar is out there. It is 2 pages, and I switch this around. Instead of putting dates first in the top part, I put the project first, so that you can see which projects you want to sew and what the dates are for it, and then some of the upcoming ones. And then of course there's always fun days of the month, and we celebrate and do some fun things, like maybe share quilts that are associated with that. So download yours at my website today. Same place, I'll put the link in there to download. Same place you download your block. Okay, campers, on the bus. Mwah. I love you. Thank you for being here in the Sloan Zone. I will see you online.